Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you some ways that you can save money during inflation. So I don't know where all of you are in the world, but at least here in Canada, we have been noticing an increase in everything from gas prices to food prices to clothing and other areas. And it definitely has an impact on our monthly budget and our day-to-day spending. And we have noticed, at least for our family, we have 3 kids and another on the way, which is why I'm sitting on the ground actually. It's a lot more comfortable for me right now. But with our expanding family, we've noticed that even just trying to buy things like diapers and getting stuff ready for baby, buying a crib and things like that are like double the price of what we used to pay with my other kids. So we have definitely felt the increase. And I just want to share with you a couple things that we do to help us live an affordable life even through inflation. So the first thing that I want to say, this may not be possible for everyone, but you would be surprised at how many people can actually do this. And that is growing your own food. Now, bear with me here. You don't have to have a massive property or a farm or anything to do this. You can literally grow food on your balcony if you're in an apartment. You can grow food inside your home in front of a bright window. Like, it could be literally anywhere. You don't need a lot of space. And even if you're just growing your herbs or just your tomatoes or something small, that will offset the cost of you having to go out to the store and purchasing something from there. Before I move on to the next point, I want to spend a minute here. We personally grow all of our own produce throughout the summer. Thankfully, we live out in the country, so we do have some land. But we used to live in an apartment, which was really, really tiny. And my husband and I would grow our own lettuce, cucumber, and tomatoes. So our salads were covered every day. Even throughout the winter, we'd be growing food indoors by a bright window. And that alone helped us save maybe about $40-50 a week, because we personally eat a lot of salads and healthier foods. So we go through a lot of lettuce and tomatoes and things like that. And we grew them organic. If you're interested in learning how to plant things and all of that, we have a YouTube channel. It's called Edible Gardening. I'll link it down below. You guys can check out some of our videos there where we share how to grow certain things. And we have some tips on how to grow if you're limited on space. So that's just one thing. Again, it's not maybe possible for everyone, but it is an option. Okay, so moving into the major points now. What else can we do? So this next point is shopping at multiple stores. I've talked about this on my channel before when I talked about how to budget and how we save money as a family. Going to multiple stores to buy what you need is key. So for me, I was very much about convenience. I would go to one store that I knew had everything I needed, including my organic stuff, and I'd buy everything from there. This store that I'd be shopping at, though, typically bumps up their prices by a few dollars on everything compared to other stores. And so out of convenience, I'd be shopping there so I wouldn't have to go to multiple stores. But then, of course, what ends up happening is you're spending maybe about $50 to $100 more per grocery shop. So what we started doing is going to multiple stores. So if I know that I'm going to need apples and carrots and a bunch of organic produce, I will go to a store that I know has that at the most affordable cost. And then I'll go to another store where I will get my meats that are organic at an affordable cost, rather than going to one store that's specialty and has it all, but at a much higher rate. So kind of going to different stores. We also have like really cheap grocery stores here where I won't buy my food, but I will go for toilet paper and paper towel and things that you want to get super cheap. And that does save a lot as well. You do have to be careful with this though. You don't want to be driving around the city with gas prices, because those are crazy right now, going to different stores. So that brings me to my next point, which is plan your trips, plan your driving trips. Sit down at the start of the week and just be mindful about what you need to do that week, where you need to be going, including your grocery shop. So if you need to go to 3 different grocery stores to get the best priced items, put that in your shopping trip or your driving trip when you're making your plan, and then map it out for the most fuel efficient route and plan it out. again, what we used to do at a convenience is every day we'd be like, oh, I need one thing from the store. We'd go drive and pick up one thing, come all the way home, and then go to another thing, and just wasting a lot of gas, which was fine when gas was so affordable. But now that it's like, at least here in Canada, it's over $2 a liter, which is unbelievable. We have to be more practical about how much we're driving. And so what I will do is I'll sit down and I'll be like, I need to go to these 3 grocery stores this week. We need to take the kids to their swimming class and this sport and that event. So what is en route, and how can we plan this out so we are minimizing our trips? And it saves us probably, when we calculated it, about 100 to 150 a month just by planning our trips and being mindful. So not making mindless driving trips out. As an example, my kids would be like, oh, we want to run to the dollar store today and pick up some more bubbles, and we would just go. Whereas now we're like, okay, I will be at the dollar store area in 2 days when I go to my grocery store, so we'll go then. So just being a little more mindful, and it really does help save a lot of time and also a lot of money. The next thing is, let me see here. I have a list. Okay, so this one's canceling Prime, Amazon Prime, or any other memberships that you're using for purchasing things. So I think Amazon Prime is the most popular, so I'm using this as an example. I find that Amazon is more expensive a lot of times on items, and I will then check Walmart or something after I've purchased something through Amazon, and a lot of times it's pretty significantly cheaper. Even dollar stores a lot of times will have cheaper things than what I'm purchasing through Amazon. So just the convenience of having Amazon Prime is something that's really nice. So a lot of people will just purchase everything through Amazon Prime to get the fast shipping and get the product the next day, but you are paying a little bit more, not just yearly for Prime itself, but you're paying more to these vendors that are selling the product. An example, there was an amazing Swiffer, like a cleaning mop, a Swiffer Jet or whatever they're called, that I was buying on Amazon, and I was about to check out. It was about $40 for this mop. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to really check Walmart really quick before I purchase this through Amazon. My Walmart had it for $12.99. I just looked online and I could see it was in stock at my store. And again, $12.99 for the exact same thing. So obviously I didn't pay the $40 on Amazon, which I would have had I not checked Walmart and other stores, just purely because it's Prime and it would have been here the next day. So really removing Prime, or at least saying like, I'm not going to just go on Prime whenever I need something and buy it right away. I'm going to stop and just really plan out what I'm buying and make sure that I'm finding the cheapest area or cheapest store for this product. And most of the time you will see that it's not on Amazon. Another example, I bought my kids a sticker book that has 500 stickers at Easter time, just eggs and bunnies and flowers. And that exact same sticker book I found at Walmart for $3.99. It was $15.99 on Amazon. And I thought $15.99 was a good price. I was like, oh, 500 stickers, that's all right. I was about to buy it. Thankfully, again, I checked Walmart and it was cheaper. So just, again, having that convenience of Prime, it's so easy to buy something, add it to cart, and you have it next day. But being careful that not everything is cheaper through Amazon, and just really not thinking about the quick shipping, think about the actual cost of the product and see if you can get it cheaper somewhere else. The other thing that I want to share with you is making a cash budget. This is more common sense, but it honestly helps so much. My foot's falling asleep with this heavy bump of mine. A cash budget will help so much. So this is exactly how we do ours. Everybody does it a little bit differently. We sit down, and I actually have shared this before on my channel, so just go back through a few of my videos and you'll find my video where I talk about our monthly bills and how we kind of estimate and budget for it. But I print off a bills chart. So I have every month, so January, February, March, April, May, etc., across the top. And then down the chart on the left-hand side, I have the different bills. So our mortgage payment, our car insurance, our electricity, our water, whatever we're paying, I have that listed on the other side of the chart. And then every month we fill in what we owe that month on all the bills. And then as we pay them off, we just check them off. So that way we keep track of what we owe, what we've paid, and what our monthly expenses are. So essentially what we're doing is we take what we have on that chart, groceries, gas, whatever is on there, and we allot. So we know how much our monthly mortgage is. We know roughly how much we're spending on electricity, how much we're spending on water, how much we'll spend on gas, etc. And we take all of that money out in cash whenever there's a paycheck, and we hold on to it. We do not spend more than what we've taken out in cash. So if you just are deciding we want to go eat out this month, and I'm allotting, say, $200 to go eat out, you will not exceed that $200. Once that $200 is out, there's no more eating out for that month. So just finding what your budget what budget works for you, and then having all of that cash and knowing exactly where everything's going. And once that cash is out, it's out, and you're not going back to your bank or your savings for more. You're not going to a credit card for more. That is it for that month. And it just helps you be mindful of how quickly you're going through your money, where your mindless spending might be, like a Starbucks or a random, treat from Tim Hortons or something like that, that you might not necessarily need, but you're kind of buying it when it's on debit and you're just tapping, not keeping track of how much you're actually spending. When we would go through, I'm going to fix the camera a bit. When we would go through our debit card statements, we were actually really surprised at how much we were spending at a Starbucks or on mindless things throughout the month. Again, just because we're tapping our card. So we don't really keep track of how much dollars we're spending a month until the end of the month comes and we're like, oh, we actually spent quite a bit extra than we really thought. So having that money out, knowing that you're allotting this amount for your coffee, this amount for eating out, this amount for clothes, whatever you want in your budget, whatever you can afford, and not passing that is really helpful. This will help you to save. It'll prevent you from building debt through credit card. And again, it'll show you what you have left. So then okay, maybe I'm not going to go to a fancier restaurant today because I only have $50 left. I'm going to go to a lower end restaurant so that we have enough to order and buy our food with. And that's it. So you just plan that way. The next thing is being mindful of electricity. This one saved us a lot. So I naturally am always mindful of our energy use, just because my whole life growing up, it was just the way we were brought up. My parents were always like, you don't need lights during the day. Shut lights off when you leave a room. Don't leave TV running. If you're using an oven to bake muffins and then you're going to bake cookies later on in the day, do it all at the same time so you're using the oven once. Just planning ahead, and it's just how we grew up. And so I've always just been mindful of our energy use. And now with energy costs rising pretty quickly, we're more mindful of that. So for example, I will make sure that we are using our dryers, our washers, our dishwashers, even baking and stuff at night when our energy cost goes down. So I think ours is 7 p.m. The cost goes down a bit. So that's when we typically will start turning things on, charging laptops, charging cell phones. There's some times where it doesn't work out perfectly like that, but most of the time we do things at night, and that way we're just naturally saving a bit of money there. As far as conserving energy goes, I am like very intense. I'm like a sergeant with the kids with being good at turning lights off, turning TVs off, turning everything off as soon as they leave a room. Even if they're returning 2 minutes later, turn everything off and get in that habit of not leaving things on. And by doing that, you're not just burning energy for no reason. Being mindful that you're turning off your hair straighteners, your hair curlers. You're not leaving things like your laptop plugged in all the time. Things like that. Everything will use energy if it's plugged in. So just unplugging things throughout the day and only using outlets and energy when needed. For us, we were able to get solar panels that are just being installed finally. That's going to help us conserve a significant amount of energy and save a lot of money, and just be a little more self-sufficient, which is awesome. So that's one way that we're going. If you can do that, amazing, but it's not in everyone's budget. So at least just being really mindful of what times you're using your energy throughout the day and how much is really, really helpful. For example, we would turn on our oven in the past so I could toast 1 or 2 pieces of bread, because I hate using the toaster. I find it way better to just throw things in the oven. So I would turn on my oven, I'd throw 2 pieces of toast in there. You're preheating an oven and you're toasting something for 10 minutes when you really could just be using the toaster. So I'm like, okay, stop doing that. if you are making a tea and you turn on the kettle and then you walk away from it to go deal with the kids and it's cold and you got to reheat again, that's wasting energy. So just if you know you're not going to be able to get to a tea or a coffee right now, don't turn on the kettle. Wait until you have a moment where you can be attentive to it and not have to reheat it, etc. All right, we're almost done with the tips, guys. This one is a weird one, but I wanted to share it because it actually works. And it's something, again, that we're not very mindful of until we're paying attention, and that is snacking less often. Don't go hungry, guys. I'm not saying starve yourselves at all, but I find, at least for me, I am a bored eater. So if I'm bored, I will be eating just for fun, and my family does that, which isn't a good habit to have anyway. But when we're like, my husband and I are just hanging out, we'll be like, we'll just open up a bag of chips, or we'll just open up some kind of snack. And if my kids are bored, I'll just be like, here's a snack. That's not the best way to go about it, because first of all, it's not a good healthy eating habit to just eat when you're bored. But if you really sit down and say, am I actually hungry? Most of the time the answer is no. And by just not taking that snack at that time helps you reduce your snacks during the day, which is great for your health, but more importantly, great for your wallet. And I'll give you an example of this. So one of my things would be, as soon as I put my kids to bed, I want to just relax, watch a movie, and we want to do snacks, which is totally fine. But what I would do is I would go out and get a bag of popcorn. I'd also cut up some apples. I'd also cut up some cheese and crackers. I'd also do something else so we have like a bunch of snacks to have. And again, this is fun and it's fine. But when you're working within a budget and there is inflation and food is costing a ton more money than it ever has before, you want to be mindful about actually what you're eating and how much groceries you're buying and things like that. You want food to spread farther. So rather than cutting up that cheese for a snack when I don't need all of that food, a bag of popcorn would be plenty. And I could use that cheese at a later meal as a grilled cheese or whatever else my kids want. That is another meal, literally, that I just ate at night and now have to come up with something new as a meal option for another day of that week. And if you're doing this throughout the day or every single night, you will go through a lot more food that you don't need, and your grocery bill will be a lot higher. Again, this will look different for everybody, but even just grabbing a bunch of granola bars throughout the day, or randomly eating, a bunch of apples or something like that as you go through your day, just because you're like, I'll have a snack. When you're not truly hungry, you are going through more food, and you will notice that you're replenishing your snacks every time you go grocery shopping. And snacks are very expensive types of food. To buy a bag of organic popcorn for us is about $6. If we're eating a bag of popcorn every night, you can kind of imagine how expensive that gets. So now it's something like once in a while, once a week on a weekend, we'll pull out a bag of popcorn or a little bit of chocolate or something, but we don't need all the snacks, at least for our family. And that has really helped our grocery bills. Now when I go to the grocery store, I'm not buying a ton of snacks, I'm buying a couple. The rest is our food that we actually need. And that really helps to bring the bill down. Okay, last one, guys. There's a lot more tips. I could go on all day with this, but the last one is canceling subscriptions. This is actually something we did a long time ago, not for us to save money and work within a budget, although that is mainly what it's for. We did it just so we are living more minimal, because I am a minimalist in a lot of aspects of my life. I could improve on other areas, but a lot of aspects of my life, I'm a true minimalist. And that is spending. Now, I love to go out and eat food. I love going out on dates. I love going on trips and vacations. So I don't have a problem spending, but I do have a problem with spending just because. I won't go to window shop and just walk into a store and randomly just buy stuff just because I'm like, I like that. Like, I will only go to the store if I actually need a new pair of shoes or I actually need a new dress. So living this way has helped me, again, it naturally save money, but it's just given me a different mindset around spending, which I love. And now that there's inflation, I've actually transitioned really easily into this, and it's helped us a lot. So canceling subscriptions, we used to have subscriptions for everything, again, just because. I would have subscriptions for Disney Plus, subscriptions for Netflix, subscriptions for, Hulu and whatever other thing there is out there when you don't need all of that. And so now we are like, nope, we don't need subscriptions. We canceled everything. I'm not saying to go and live a boring life and not have anything fun happening, but there's a lot of subscriptions you might find that you're not needing. For example, you probably don't need both Disney and Netflix. If you have kids and you're like, my kids love to watch Disney, and you're kind of keeping Netflix for yourself, then maybe look at just whichever one is used more, hang on to that, and find something to watch on that platform that you're keeping. There is, at the end of the day, a lot to watch. I mean, maybe not always our favorite things, but there's still quite a bit. And you can always switch. If you decide that one day my kids are been watching a lot of Disney and they're repeating, maybe we'll cancel Disney for a bit and then switch to Netflix for a bit and just have Netflix. My kids can watch new stuff there. When they're sick of that, we can always go back to Disney and watch the new stuff that's come out. So you don't have to have running subscriptions together all the time. This goes to cell phones. This goes to everything. We have the cheapest pay-as-you-go cell phone plans because I do not believe, for myself, I've talked about this many times as well, I personally do not believe in having your crazy cell phone bills and plans. I don't believe in even having data on your phone because I find that nowadays everybody, when they're out, whether they're at a party, hanging out with family, they're on their phones because they have the internet. You're scrolling social media, you're playing games, you're doing whatever, and it's taking away from you being in the moment, being with your family, being with your friends, which I'm really very much against. So for me, I'm like, let's cancel our data plans. Let's cancel all of these things that we have on our phone and stick to a simple plan. To me, a cell phone is what I use it for: calling my clients and texting my family. That's about it. So I'm like, and taking photos. I don't need to have data. If I need social media, I'm using it while I'm at home working because I do social media for a living as part of my living. So I have my Wi-Fi at home. I'm already paying a ton of money for fast internet. I'm not going to pay any more to have internet outside the house. There's Wi-Fi pretty much everywhere you go. So that's about it. So I will do all my social media and stuff at home. And as soon as I leave the house, my phone goes in my purse. I don't look at it all day. And this helps to detach from your phone. It helps spare your eyes that blue light. It helps you be more social and not rely on your phone to check it all the time. And then it helps save money because these cell phone plans can cost a couple $100s a month depending on how much data you're using. Our plan is about $15, $20 a month. Mine comes with like 500 or no, I think I have 1 gig of data and unlimited texting and calling. That's perfect for me. That's all I need. And it saves us so much money. I used to do the $300 a month plans and it just was not sustainable. So those are my tips, guys. There's a lot more, but if you like this video and you want a part 2, you can let me know and I'll do another one because there's just so many areas you can save. But I hope that this started to give you some ideas of places to cut back. I know it might seem scary, like to say, but I really love Netflix. I don't want to cancel Netflix. Or I love my Amazon Prime. I buy everything from there. I don't want to cancel it. But if you really think, I buy it like almost everything from Amazon Prime too, until I actually started realizing, again, Amazon's a lot more expensive than other places. And I really started to ease off of Amazon and actually going in store to places or doing like a click and collect at a Walmart and picking things up from there. And it actually saves me a lot of money. So as convenient as these things are, I think we're using them a lot because we have them. But if we didn't have them, we'd find alternatives that are a lot cheaper. So sometimes it's hard to make that leap. But what you can always remember is if you cancel Netflix or you cancel Amazon Prime or you lower your cell phone plan or whatever, you can always go back. You can always reopen Netflix or, rebump your plan up, but you can try it for a couple weeks or a couple months. And if you're like, hey, I love the savings and I love not having to have all these automatic charges going through my credit card every month, it might be worth a shot. So just make that leap. You will see how much you actually save and how much extra money you actually have at the end of the month to put towards something you love, whether it's paying down debts or going on a trip, going out to an amazing restaurant. You'll have more cash flow and it's so worth it. Anyway, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching this video and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.